Hello, hello. So it's time to talk more about Naxx. It's coming up soon on the Fresh servers, and if you didn't know, I've done Naxx raid leading more than almost anyone else. It's something that I'm pretty proud of in terms of I knew nothing at the start of Naxx, and now I would say that we're pretty good at Naxx. So I just want to talk about some of those different experiences, and as you start to get into Naxx, maybe you'll just learn a little bit more. So the first thing is how we do things super safe, low risk. This first pull here, oftentimes people die. They accidentally hit things before the AoE shot goes off. This is kind of like the higher level start where we're doing two packs at once and Tuco AoE shots. Notice how he waits a second before he shouts so they all group up slightly better. And a lot of times, like a mage will blast a little early, or someone will throw a dynamite, or something will go wrong. So this was perfect. You see that the different casters get bopped there. Farmy gets a bop late, but potentially saves them, so good play there. And now we take our buffs out. So the fact that we have boons and can kind of pick and choose the danger points of where we unboon just makes it a better experience for us. So now we pop all our additional cooldowns, that kind of stuff, and this is really when the run starts. So we do kind of wait like an extra minute as far as like lost time. There's definitely points that you're going to see time save possible in this raid. This is not the optimal route that we're doing for speed runs. This is just a Naxx, right? This is farm mode with a little bit of blast. The idea is that we're going to have our buffs out the entire time for this raid, and we're going to be able to kill targets like we want to. So that's what you're going to see happen here. I don't think there's too much to mention. The one thing that kind of stands out to me is hunter buffs. They don't have much available. The one thing here is that you could have attack power juju for that little bit of extra damage. But again, hunters are not brought for their high damage. They're brought for their utility and ability to keep a raid moving. And that's what you're going to see throughout this raid of what Xurt is doing here. If you are a hunter aspiring to be in Naxx, I definitely recommend watching more of this guy's content in more depth and just like seeing the different ways that he's looking around, moving, that kind of stuff. Just very, very good gameplay. For example, here we are focused on this skitter pack in front of us. He's not focused on that at all. He's focused on the next pack. So he's watching for the patrol in here. It's good timing. He didn't need to do anything anyways. It's just coming right at us, but he pulls it in a safe spot. That's kind of a dangerous area of pulling right in there. So again, this is someone that's comfortable with doing that. If you haven't done it before, be very safe in that area with moving up and that kind of stuff. Easy to accidentally pull the left pack and the right pack at the same time, which a lot of groups struggle with. Anyways, I'm not going to show too much like education and that kind of stuff because again, this content is a little bit more for the people that were part of this raid. So let's kind of get into that now. Um, I felt like up to this point, it was really good. The last couple packs, I kind of panicked with my callouts of AoE shouts, and we handled it really well. So this pack, I just want to call it out, was kind of sketchy. It was a double pack. So my idea was only to be hugging to the left side, and that we would pull the skitter pack here on the left side and the green spiders. But we kind of walked down the middle and pulled the right pack as well, which was fine. But look at how late this pack is like trickling in. This is how you have mages die really easily because the warrior would AoE shot like now, and then all these additional mobs that come in just get in trouble for people. But and Will did a really good job calling out his AoE shout. Maybe we can hear it. I think I said
Careful,
less.
careful, careful.
You hear him
This is
say
a double
careful?
shout now.
Now?
Shouting now. Okay.
Dynamites.
So some good dummies
Dummy
too.
would be terrible.
Dummies were definitely clutch there. The key too is how we have separate groups. So there's a clear caster group that is going to be cleansed and a clear melee group. Very important to have two separate groups. So you see right here there's a paladin, it looks like, I think, that runs in. It's a skeleton, but I think it's a paladin.
Dummy wouldn't.
Just can't really tell who that is, but the key is how they move forward, right? Like if they were stuck in this middle area, potentially everyone gets hit by the poison when the charge happens. But because there's two separate groups, it's only like 5, 6 people that can then cleanse themselves. So yeah, not much to mention in this area. Farina went well. fair bit of damage output, but that's just how it goes sometimes with Rain of Fire, so we handle that. And we move forward. So this was a mistake by me. In this area, I should have just said, kill the green spiders. We are going too fast as a raid group to deal with the slowness of this patrol here. We should have just taken it out right here. So this was me being a little bit dainty and slow. Um, I think this shade is always worth pulling if we're finishing it like right as the ghouls die like this, just so we're moving forward and it dies. I should have dragged it a little bit better, but like right here, we should have already pulled the green spiders, but we're just waiting half a second. Notice how he's able to pull them like this because these are beasts and those targets are humanoid, separate mob types. I believe that makes them not chained, so that's why he's able to pull like this. If it was humanoids and humanoids, that closer range would have definitely social pulled. But these are humanoids, those are beasts. So anyways, good pull here. Again, notice this pull here. He's pulling right next to other mobs. If you don't understand how different mobs interact with each other, don't pull like that. Okay. Again, have to understand how the game works. But again, notice here, before the mobs die, he's already up top here pulling as everyone else is then coming up. It just really keeps the cadence going well, and I feel like in our Friday raid in general, we have good pulling pace and just cadence throughout. So again here, I was glad to see no one charged. This area is kind of sketch. If people kind of move forward too fast, we could get those spiders, things get weird. Definitely a lot of time save potential in our Farina wing. I mean, if we were to do the Farina skip and some other stuff, it's a lot faster than a 10, 11 minute run like you see here. But I think this is pretty standard. Like if you can get your spider wing to around 11 minutes, you're going to have hour buffs until Saph, which is the goal. Or you boon for a bit and then you play safe. But anyways, we're going to focus on our style of raid. Um, Plenty of time, killed it with plenty of time, but my threat was really bad. So Inwild almost took over a threat here. I just didn't have good threat this raid. Definitely an area of focus for me next time is if Inwild is an off tank. I mean, I might just not make him an off tank because he's just doing too much damage. He has issues sometimes with salve, and um, as an off tank, if you're constantly taking off salve and trying to put it back on and stuff, it's just not the best. So just something to think about. Good pulling pace here. He was able to pull both the ads as the patrol is walking up. This is a pack that I always want us to be ready to prayer on as priests. We need to be ready to go and quickly heal up as soon as we're getting hit because we want to go into this next area fast. So we recover and we move forward. Notice the style of this raid where we have a priest in every group besides one group, and that group is basically all just healers that take care of themselves. Prayer of healing is super powerful. So this felt scary for like half a second where we had multiple smiths and we got hit by that volley. But once the smith dies, it's only one or two left, not too dangerous. But again, priests are doing a good job keeping with their groups, prayer of healing their group, and just keeping it moving forward. So this got sketch. Let's see the sketchiness. This was the first moment that I really clenched, where I was like, oh, okay, the raid is done. Because if you have a spinning mob in the middle of 20 people, someone's gonna die. So very, very shocked at how this turned out here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, like almost 20 people all getting hit by this spin at the same time as fears are happening. But the key is that while this spin is happening, it is disarmed. So thank goodness we had this captain disarmed. But we just didn't kill it quite fast enough. We need to have more single target on Skull and X. I know I was kind of like cleave, pump, 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 but kill Skull, kill X. X was like the highest health in this scenario, and that's not good. So we dealt with this, but then we had to deal with all the fears. So getting feared into these side mobs isn't too bad. You're able to stun these mobs. They can be shackled. You just have to CC them as much as possible and not stand behind them. If you stand in front of them, you get knocked backwards. If you stand behind them, then you get knocked into the other mobs behind them. So This area got sketched as well. We were kind of like patting ourselves on the back for not dying on the last one, and I was like yelling at the raid here. You're gonna hear me.
This might be a triple pull.
Death Wish.
Only skull. Only skull.
So the key here is good target selection. We pull 3 packs at once here. We managed to finish off the first spinner, and the second captain I get control of and try and bring it out. I love the dummies from people. The problem is we need to make sure that that captain is out if we're going to dummy. So I love the dummies, but again, if the captain is in there, it's really, really bad. So you see Zert does a good job switching and focusing on the captain, and it does. So in general here, I thought that some of the warriors did a really good job of like playing that in between. You see Calamitous, it looks like taunted something for a second there. And I just really love seeing that gameplay from a bunch of the warriors as far as keeping those casters safe. And in general, like you see all these casters here, they have like that little wall of warriors protecting them, and that's really the goal. So this area made me really happy from our warrior DPS of how it felt like everyone was doing their job. Like, yeah, your job is to do more damage as a DPS player, but at the same time, as a warrior, you do just have some natural utility where you can save someone else. So again, while we're killing the pack, Zert is already setting up the next one. And that's what happens for this area. Nothing exciting in this area. Resuvius was perfect. We waited a little bit just to make sure the patrol was good. Great control here and patience from the mind controller that he doesn't move forward even a step. He mind controls and stands still. You wait for Resuvius to reach you. That's how you do it. And then you back up like that. I love the slow back pedal. I'm cool with that. So that's it. That's how you set up Resuvius. Sometimes I do wonder if being a little bit closer is better. I've heard, there's all sorts of rumors and things about how the mind control works. So this was fine though. It worked. It felt like just a little bit farther away than I would like though, because like the mob has to be brought over to this guy, right? So it's like an extra half a second of running. So I think that's the biggest reason why I like it a little bit closer to the edge. But again, perfect as far as the taunt overlaps and keeping that second mob at the end there. I felt really safe on this Resuvius, which is what you want. So shout out to our priests. This area all went well. 1 pack at a time, 1 pack at a time. This charge was crazy. Never charge on this pack like this. Someone charges in, almost gets one shot. It's a classic case. If you get low health like this, they can execute you. Get down to 2k health. Good reaction from the priest though. You saw how quickly he got a shield. Gothic, nothing exciting. We're just going to skip through that. I can get better when it comes to setting up the expectations for Gothic so that we all know where to be. I think that's one of our biggest slowdowns still. Shout out to Zert for quickly getting through the middle. And yeah, we're just moving forward here. This was our next big clench moment. So I get the idea with the distract. I mean, this was a really gamer distract. I just couldn't trust it. Like, we waited for a couple seconds here because I just didn't know about that distract. So in general, only distract if I call for it. We all move forward here, and my understanding is one of the rogues, Nike's was newer, so he tried to distract in the back, and I think maybe he was stealthed or something. These gargoyles, they see through stealth, so you just got to make sure you're out of stealth when you are trying to distract them in max range. But yeah, so got really scary here that we have enraged ghouls patrol in the distance. The raid, I don't think had realized at this point that the patrols were coming. I did. Okay, like that was part of the panic in my voice. We were getting a lot of stacks of these gargoyles, and ghouls were just whacking on us. Very scary. So we did a couple AoE shouts, and it turned out okay. But again, it's definitely not how we want to do this pack. This is why I'm such a fan of lawnmower mode. I think we could have gotten cheeky here. We could have been like, oh, this is a lot. Let's try and sneak. The answer is never to sneak in Naxx. You just move forward and kill things. it's going to save you so much time if you try to lawnmower compared to sneak. So that's what we do here. We flip to the other side because we know that these gargoyles or the ghouls will patrol to the other side. They're going to stop like right at that lamppost. So we quickly kill the first patrol and then right behind it the second patrol. So I think this was a good distract from the rogue. Kev's goes and or yeah, Kev's did that distract. That was a good distract. So then we pull the next. And in another second, we get the ghouls. At the same time as we have the ghouls, we accidentally pull the acolytes from that death coil. That was a tragic death coil. But I like how Homeo called out. I didn't realize we got the acolytes too. So when someone is the one to pull something, I like it that they're the one to call it out. So that was good. But yeah, super dangerous here. We're getting hit by the volley. Getting hit by a volley and an enraged ghoul at the same time is super scary. I was clenching here, let me tell you. So shout out to our healers. Up till this point, we hadn't had a single death. And we're not going to have any deaths on 4 Horsemen. On 4 Horsemen, you're going to see us burn down Thane without cooldowns. Then we go to Mograine. This is where we use our cooldowns. We try and quickly kill this boss because it's the most dangerous experience for the tanks. And once this boss dies, we're unlocked and able to quickly finish off the last 2 bosses. So a couple slightly scary moments in terms of tanks being at half health, but I would say I was never super worried about anyone on this fight, which is awesome. We send a couple DPS on Ziliek throughout this fight. So at the start we have 2 melee DPS, then we have 2 more, then we have 2 more later, and by the time the casters get to it, it's already over half dead. And basically as Blamo dies, a couple seconds later Ziliek dies. So yeah, that was perfect. That's how we want to do 4 Horsemen every single time. Really happy with how that went. Quickly going into the next area, stacking all 4 of these. Tanks want to make sure they have free action potion available, which can be kind of tough when you were just tanking something previously, but reality is, as a tank on 4 Horsemen, there's not a whole ton of potion cooldown usage besides like you could Stone Shield, I guess, if you're really worried. But yeah, just one of those fights where as a tank I'm thinking about using my potion for the following fight. So we don't normally stack all 3 ads like this. This had me a little worried, but we were pumping. So we quickly kill Skull here, which is the main thing. You gotta make sure the Retro dies. Normally we split these up, but we didn't. We were so close to killing them on time. We got the stun at like the last quarter second. So I like how Thursday was ready to go in the middle. And then we pick up the other ads, easy peasy. Blast this down, move forward. We did a great job killing these slimes. Look at the caster damage. It's all casters, right? Like mages were pumping. So shout out to the mages there. Warlocks too, honestly. The Warlocks are doing good damage. So we clear out some trash, we jump across, and then we are just clearing each of these packs one at a time. This was an insane ID. Like, I wish I could say that we fished it. Basically, only Belchers. Like, if you didn't know, in a speed run, typically you're going to fish for an ID that has only Belchers. Retchers are really dangerous if you're in combat for a longer period of time. So yeah, you really just want to have those Belchers, and we did. That definitely made it feel less risky. We could go into one of these monstrosity packs, and if we had to deal with a Belcher at the same time, it's a lot less dangerous. We dealt with 2 Belchers here. We just pulled both at once, which I, again, really liked Desert's question here. Can you take 2? Yep, send it. Um, just again, I recommend if you are a newer hunter, play like this guy. Look at that Giga Gamer play. He's stuck in the back here, slowed down, and he's able to pull this mob with a volley pull, which is awesome. I love that. Single tick of volley. What a gamer. Um, and now we're on to Patrick. Pretty quick turnaround into Patrick. As soon as it gets here, we pull. I often do a bad job having any rage. Tuco called me out on that, and he was totally right. Um, I should try and do better. It would help my opener threat, but at the same time, look how quickly I get 100 rage. I get hit once and get to 100 rage. It's kind of crazy. And boom. So maybe it almost made me think I got hit by Hateful or something, but I don't think that's what it was. I think we had really good threat and control here. But yeah, really quickly you get your rage up on this fight once you get hit once or twice. So speaking of getting hit once or twice, Patrick was hit the entire time by the ignite. So was happy to see a blaster ignite for the entire kill. Feels really good when you don't have to tell mages to drop the ignite. So we do a good job on this first pack with stuns and that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, this is where we have our first death. So not on this pack, on the next one, which is, again, really unfortunate because these are the easier packs. So you see Kev's did like a 2-second kidney there. I'm really in favor of that. Just some sort of stun to break up how long these mobs are hitting us. So yeah, Rip Slink there just had the highest threat besides me, and I get knocked up here. And I think because I'm knocked up, I'm like out of range. But also maybe I just shouldn't taunt first. Little hard to see from this perspective, but the kidney goes on just at the last second as he dies. So yeah, pretty tragic, unfortunate. I just maybe went too fast. Like ideally in this scenario, you'd have rogues get out of combat so they can stealth and do cheap shot. The rogues told me that because they kidney shot on that boss, they weren't able, or if you use kidney here, you're going to have it on cooldown and not able to use on these. So just kind of unlucky. Again, though, because I taunted on the opener, the taunt debuff wasn't active for an extra second longer. So I really should just open with threat and then taunt 1 or 2 seconds after to deal with a knockup better. So some things for me to improve as a tank. I should just probably mock one of these as well. Using Mocking Blow is really powerful on these mobs. Anyways, Grob, nothing fancy. I kind of forgot we fought it like this. Anyways, I was kind of seeing red after that death. But we didn't get too tilted. We had a good Gluth. This next fight was weird though. So I want to see on this side. Okay, yeah. So the problem that we continuously have, I see Blee on the left side. I don't see Tuco. I think Tuco is the tank that's supposed to be on this side. I won't go to the assignment sheet right now. But we have a consistent issue with only one tank being on the left side and not enough DPS. So I called out group 2 and 6 over comms. So that's part of the problem. We're missing 3 DPS on the wrong sides and a tank. So 4 people are missing from one side. That's pretty significant. But yeah, we just absolutely blasted this one side. Vermori almost dies because he's the only tank on the side. So Homeo gets tossed here. Vermori gets hit down to 1 health, or like, 5%. But we do it. And then we have a good Thaddius. Pretty decent ignite that we were able to keep going through most of the fight. And now they spread out. Easy peasy. Notice how you can have 2 people stacked like this and it's not a big deal at all. You just don't want to have much more than that. Actually confuses me. I kind of expected he'd take some damage, but I guess this is technically like different planes. That to me is fascinating. I haven't really seen that before. Because again, you see Relax gets hit because they're near one other person. But I guess like there could actually be some huge tech there. The more you know, right? Learning new things. So this is another one of those deaths I just wanted to talk about here. We do that first pack well, and casters often will like take off salve and try and take one of these slimes because they can't be taunted. And I get it, but I really do just want the tanks to be tanking these mobs The problem is that when a caster is tanking it, they're going to bring the slimes backwards, right? We want the slimes to be brought forward towards the next area that we're going. And they're risky. If this slime is going to hit a caster, it's probably going to kill you real quick. Destiny just gets straight up one shot by it. So I don't think he was expecting that. Maybe he was thinking he was going to die a little bit faster. He's a good player, so I know he didn't mean to die, but Ripperino. It's my reasoning for why I'm just going to say tanks get your targets. I don't care about the casters doing the caster thing. Like I get the idea, especially if like on the opener, if the casters get a couple hits and prevent a melee DPS from dying because the caster gets the threat before the melee DPS, that makes sense to me. But in general, like I just want tanks to be tanking those targets. So not a whole ton else to say about this raid. I feel like I've covered the things that I wanted to talk about. But we'll just finish it out. And again, I think it's fun to just kind of look through some of these raids right after we do them. We moved really quick through this suppression room area. I was pleased at how fast we just pressed W. Dealt with a couple beasts, but we just keep going, 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 and suddenly we're at the next area. So yeah, really easy Hyen. We just bring it around. Little surprised. I think we looks like it was two healers that got teleported, and that's basically it. We had a strong amount of DPS to kill Hyen, where we often are having to move one more like quadrant, right? We didn't have to do that in this raid, which I think is interesting. Not much to say about Lotheb. We still had our buffs that were just running out. That's my ultimate goal for our Naxx raids is 13 bosses we want to have world buffs. Realistically, we would have to change some things around if we wanted to have our bus for SAF or KT. And those things that we'd have to change would start to add a little bit of risk to this raid. And that's just something I'm not super interested in right now. So our goal right now is to just continue to polish things up and individual gameplay improvements. Now we're on SAF. SAF went well. So the tragedy with Saf is that we were so close to the air phase. We did pretty good damage at the start, getting the boss to like 70% during air phase. First time, that's really good. So then boss comes back down, we spread back out as casters, the melee are pumping, and I was just not aware of how bad the threat situation was at this point. I definitely could have had better threat, and it just was not. My focus on Saf is survival. Like straight up, I am not thinking about threat after the first 30 seconds. I can't think of a time that I've ever had threat issues on Saf after the first 30 seconds. And turns out that salvation was removed. So like we were at the 10% mark. You have to get Saf down to 10% before the last air phase, and it happens at 11%. We were so close. So I think for sure if Inwild could have pumped a little bit harder, he would have been fine. And he stopped at the right time, but he did still have like 4%, but that's really not enough to ever think about pulling. So I'm happy that he throttled here. And, we would have been really upset if he pulled and then suddenly the boss cleaves and hits 10 people, right? That's not what you want. So it feels really terrible in this situation. But if you are ever in this situation where you are just a couple percentage points off from pulling off the main tank on Saf, please be like in Wild. Please don't wipe the raid. And no one died anyways, right? Like, sure, we had to spend an extra 30 seconds killing the boss because we didn't meet that air phase, but no one died, easy kill, and now we're on to KT. KT is always the wild card where sometimes you just get bad RNG and bad things happen. During phase one, I think we had one or two cubby pulls. I don't think we're going to be able to tell from this perspective of how the cubbies got pulled. Nope. so I'm not worried about it. Let's talk about KT now. So KT comes up. Weird start where the Fissure was in my spot, so I had to like move it away and then moved it back. We have plenty of time at the start. We're not worried about Frost Blast for the first little bit. I don't see. Okay, so now we see some weak auras. There's a nice weak aura that tells you the timer on Frost Blast. I would highly recommend you have that, especially if you're a melee player. As a caster here, he's not worried about it, but like I'm actually kind of shocked how close he is and that Frost Blast didn't hit him. He moved away with perfect timing. So again, this is the importance of why you want to be spread out as casters here. If he was just a little bit closer, it would have chained. So we have our first death here of these guys just running over and one-shotting the mage. So a Nova could have been really good right here if a mage was able to intercept or stop those guys from intercepting. But as soon as they reach Slink, he is insta-dead. Actually looks like maybe it was a no. Maybe the paladin hit him too. No, looks like warriors. Anyways, got hit really hard there. We really rely on mages for KT for their CC. So being down one person in CC hurts, but definitely not the end of the world. I didn't make a call to B-res because I really just want to be B-resing tanks or healers on this fight. We did a good job with kicks throughout. So I think the call was made like Frost Blast is available, watch out. So this is the problem here. If Frost Blast is open, you need to make sure you walk straight backwards. You do not go to the other piles if Frost Blast is available. Look what happens here. If this rogue had been the Frost Blast target, he would have gotten two stacks all hit by the Frost Blast. So this rogue here, they see that the Void Blast has happened and they want to continue to have uptime, so they move over a little bit. I mean, he's not even doing it up. He's just moving out, which I appreciate. But the problem is that you only go straight backwards. You get away from the melee. This is getting close to the melee. So someone in this stack got the Frost Blast targeted on them, and that means that in, I think it's like a 12, 10-yard range or whatever, anyone in that range is going to get hit by Frost Blast. So these guys that jiggled over a little bit, they're going to get hit by Frost Blast. It's why you want to always stay in your stacks. Anyways, we held it together. Shout out to our healers here. I just want to kind of show that again. Like, look at that healing that goes out. Lots of people are getting hit here. We don't have perfect groups, all right? This isn't like super, super optimal. This is just healers that understand how to heal. So you'll see one run from super far away and do an instant cast. That's what we want to see. The problem then is dealing with after this, right? Recovering, making sure people stay spread out. So look at this gameplay from this druid here about how he supports and then returns to the previous spot. I think that's the real key. So we're approaching the end now. At the end, ads start coming out. Adds a bit of pressure and confusion, but it really isn't bad if you have a good paladin. At the end here, the paladin can do Blessing of Kings spam, and more of the ads will be attracted to that paladin. Makes it easier for the priests to do their thing. Good sleep. I'm not sure who did that magic dust, but shout out to that. Magic dust is extremely powerful on this fight. Highly recommend you have one. And it kind of falls apart at the end here. This is like a burn phase of like, all right, it's getting scuffed. We just have to kill this boss. I have threat on it, so threat wasn't the end of the world, but then I die here. Looks like some people ripped on me right at the start too. So when a mind control happens, you just have to chill for a sec. Like I have 2k threat, and then some people looks like that they just maybe took threat over me. I don't know, kind of hard to tell if it was threat or mind control person. But anyways, the point here is that at the end, I die. So if your main tank dies on KT, you're in big trouble. I just wasn't getting healed enough. In this scenario, it's really, really important. I see a lot of people are taking damage. The only person that's going to die in this situation is Blee, and I did. So when the main tank dies, other people are going to start just falling over. Fortunately, the fight was done at this point, but again, my big takeaway from KT is positioning, CC, keeping the tank alive. So those three things just kind of stood out to me. Anyways, just a quick little rant talking about our raid. It was fun playing with you guys, and until the next one. Again, shout out to Zert for streaming, and GG's.